Democrats are now seizing on the ballooning conservative backlash to the Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. At least two Democratic members of Congress are promising to force a House vote demanding full disclosure of all Epstein-related documents. Joining me now, NBC's Julie Surkin on the Hill. Julie Roginski is Democratic strategist and author of the Salty Politics newsletter. Okay, Julie Surkin, is there anything to suggest that this is going to go to a vote and it could pass?
Well, it probably won't go to a vote on the House floor, and it probably won't pass because Republicans are in control of that process. But this is what happens when you're in the minority. You got to get creative. And that is what Congressman Ro Khanna of California is trying to do here. You mentioned there are at least two of them. There are actually more because they signed on to a letter from Khanna trying to force this vote and to make it happen. What he's going to do tomorrow is to try and force, or later today actually, is to try and force a vote on the Genius Act. It's a completely unrelated bill designed to regulate the stablecoin industry inside the Rules Committee, a process by which, of course, they have to first go to before they get anything on the floor. In there, Khanna says he will try to raise this amendment and try to force the panel comprised of 9 Republicans and 4 Democrats to try and pass this and add it onto the bill. It probably won't happen, but it will continue to shine a light and expose this rift that you highlighted there, Chris, this rare moment of tension very publicly playing out between the MAGA base and President Trump, who's always so close to his base and his supporters. So if Ro Khanna is not successful in this process, there are a couple of other tools he has in his toolkit. He could try to force the speaker to put this on the floor by getting a discharge petition, gathering at least 218 votes. That's the majority, signing on to this push by him to get these Epstein files released. That's probably not going to happen either. So all in all, you're going to continue, I think, to see Democrats try to smartly put a line on this issue, try and continue to grow the rift that is already so big and so wide on social media and online. And of course, the president has to answer to this, and his administration as well, playing out between members of his cabinet there. And Democrats, aside from this effort, Chris, also in the Senate, I thought it was notable that even somebody like Brian Schatz, who is a member of leadership, trying to point attention to this issue and sort of trolling it as well there, Chris.
Julie Surkin, thank you. Well, Julie Roginski, is trolling it enough, is talking about it enough, is putting forward a bill that's performative but not powerful enough?
Well, I don't know that it is performative because Republicans have talked for years.
It's performative if it's not going to go to a vote, and even if it did, it's not going to pass.
Not necessarily, because a discharge petition would put people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of these other people who've been for years screaming about how they want the Epstein files released. I mean, this goes all the way up to Donald Trump Jr., who said a couple of years ago, we've got to release the Epstein files. What are they hiding? Agreed. So put these people on record. And the problem
if you don't vote on it, how do you put them on the record?
Through a discharge petition. Ask them to sign on to the discharge petition. And if they don't just sign on to a discharge petition, they're not putting their money where their mouth is. Look, there was a conference at Turning Point USA this weekend where you had all sorts of MAGA influencers, from Laura Ingraham on down, talking about how they're furious that the Epstein files have not been released. They are turning on this administration. They are going to demand that these people sign on to a discharge petition. If they don't demand that, then they're hypocrites. And so this really creates a huge rift.
But it blew up in a non-traditional way. It didn't blow up on the floor of Congress. It didn't blow up because of the threat of a discharge petition. It blew up because of new media. It blew up because of influencers online. It blew up because of social media. Is that the way Democrats should more effectively be answering it?
Well, first of all, yes, to all of those. Democrats have got to learn how to use new media and social media in ways that they're being completely outplayed by Republicans. But also it blew up because Pam Bondi did the biggest self-own, I think, in history, where she came out a couple of months ago and said, oh, yeah, it's on my desk. I'm going to look at it. And then all of a sudden, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing more to talk about. We're not releasing anything. And so the interesting thing here is that this probably would not have gotten the crazy attention that it did if she hadn't leaned into it a few months ago and suddenly started to walk it back. This is a big problem for Trump because he obviously does not want to talk about this. He obviously wants no attention paid to this whatsoever. He went back, if you remember, to his greatest hits, talking about how this is like the Russia hoax, went back to trolling Rosie O'Donnell. This is like, you know, the Rolling Stones coming and playing out Satisfaction when they're not happy about, you know, the new music they might be releasing. But MAGA is not falling for it anymore. They're not falling for the greatest hits because the greatest hits was always this. This was the big conspiracy. And now he's not leaning into it, and they are, and that's the problem for all of them.